In the summer of 2023, I was running what is currently my favorite Dungeons & Dragons campaign. More than having a sweeping story and incredible narration, I had some truly amazing players that made a wonderful story together. It was one of the most enriching experiences in my life, and one of the reasons why I choose to keep making stories and running games, so that I can see the lives I've touched and the dreams I've made possible. Unfortunately, due to a cacophony of issues, I slowly but surely lost most of those players and needed to shut down the campaign. After scrounging for new players and struggling to revamp the remaining story, I considered canceling the entire thing until a player made a donation, asking to see the end of the story. I decided to rededicate my time in order to make a new adventure for the remaining players. In doing so, I created a new plot and avenue for everyone, but I also left behind some content I lovingly labored over. Rather than simply letting those untold stories be glossed over and forgotten about, I wanted to try making a short story series detailing the origins and important events of some of my favorite characters, starting with Skadi, an almost throwaway NPC that I nurtured into an incredibly complex character. She was designed as an antagonist, a rival for the players to hone their skills against. Unfortunately, she was also the long-lost sister of a player that was the first to disappear from the campaign. Without this connection, though, Skadi's character didn't have any deeper meaning anymore and had to be scrapped. In order to keep this character alive, I gathered what scenes and character development I had planned and strung them together in chronological order. Unfortunately, this was never meant to be a fully fledged story and wasn't able to stand on its own, feeling lost without an overarching story and empty without any other characters to interact with. I could certainly write more books, adding new characters and adventures, but I am afraid that it may detract from the heart of this story. Skadi is alone. She can't save herself, and she won't let anyone save her, so everything she suffers through is her own fault. There's so much more I could do with this character to expand their world and experiences, but the point of who Skadi is and what she experienced is based upon her limited knowledge. We never get to see her progress more than this brief window of her life. This is enough to know who she is and why she's here. There were numerous issues with trying to turn a few glimpses of a character into a functional story. I've been struggling with the story for more than a year now, meanwhile experiencing many life-changing developments that have caused me to falter in my creative process. In between losing jobs, friends, and family, I have gone back and forth trying to stay true to my dream and keep this story alive. It has been a terrible experience, born from passion and driven with various emotions that are mirrored in this story. In a way, I feel like I have been battling Skadi as much as I've been experiencing similar pain as she refuses to have her path written for her. When she faces down a monster, I felt challenged to write the epic battle. When she felt abandoned by friends and family, I suffered in silence over a story no one knew. When she walked away from everything, I also felt like I was making a selfish choice by choosing to spend my time writing this story. I think it's my own mentality that has caused me to be unable to simply let go and let this story be what it simply is, a rough and terrible representation of a small part of one person's life. Rather than slaving away until every detail is perfect, I think it's time I conclude this chapter and start writing and sharing other stories. TLDR. Those of you who are a fan of my Horizon campaign will recognize Skadi in the few moments she showed up. Her attitude and actions were never understood, and we were never able to explore her motivations until now. I have since then recreated an abridged version of her life in a short story that is accessible for a wider audience. To those that stuck around long enough to see the end, and those who arrived to see something new, thank you. I hope you enjoy what I have made here. This is Skadi's story.